Welcome back to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I am so glad you're here. If you clicked on this video, which you did because you're here, right? You seen the title. Gwendlyn Brown used to upload pretty often, frequently, to not only her Patreon, but her YouTube channel. Now, these videos that we've been reacting to and rewatching over the past few weeks have been publicly available on Gwendlyn's YouTube channel. Like I said, Gwendlyn has not posted on her YouTube channel in quite some time, which respect her privacy, to each their own. The videos are still up for our viewing pleasure, so we're going to indulge. Because I think what Gwendlyn has to say is very valid and needs to be heard loud and clear. So, if somebody didn't hear it the first time, Gwendlyn has spoken very loudly about her experience with Robyn and Cody. She is the daughter of Cody Brown. Okay? So I think we need to listen. Listen closely. Now, this is her reacting to the end of season 17. Y'all, when Cody was asked by Sookie about Robyn being the favorite wife, and remember he got kind of pissy and mad because he's like, I'm not answering that. Well, the favorite wife becomes a very, very large topic of discussion, to say the least.
God, I don't like watching this at all. Pretty sure this is the first episode, and I was having a hard time watching it. He's allowed to have a favorite, but like, also he should. It's like clearly he's choosing to be blind. I think she's saying that she's trying to bring everybody together. He and my mom were definitely like besties for a long time, but they don't have the kind of romance Robyn has with my dad, or not romance, but like mutual love and attraction to each other. And I don't know if it's mutual from her standpoint, because the more I'm watching, the more I'm like, oh, she looks like she's trying to like slip away. I don't know if that's just me like assuming or surmising some sort of story, but that's what it seems to me, that it's just that she has the romance with him where they don't. Also, at one point my dad was like, I don't want to talk about my relationship with Robyn, which also makes no sense, because I really don't know how to like think about that, because why wouldn't he? You know? Anyway, when he was like that, she was like, okay, do you want to like maybe talk about it if we see this clip? Like, she doesn't push. She's solid. It was a really well done interview. And she like was doing a good job at seeing both sides. At one point she did get a little biased, which was like so valid, because like, how do you not get biased? When they were talking about fault, and my dad was like, oh, well, I could see me having a fault or blah 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 or something, and she was like, so you agree that it's your fault, or something like that. And while that was a little aggressive, it's also like it's like a statement. It's a valid statement, and it, in a way, it is his fault. And a lot of the time I saw Robyn being like, oh, the other wives were like pushing Cody onto me, and I didn't want that. I wanted the whole family, and I wanted them, and I don't want him. Which, I mean, do we see a divorce in the future? This is so weird to talk about, because this is literally my parents. At one point I was watching it, and I was like looking at my mom, and I was like, that's my mom. Like, I just saw her the other day. You know? It's whack. It's so whack to me. So anyway, Robyn was talking about how the wives, like, decided to push Cody onto her, and it was the wives' choice. But the way that I saw it, and the way that all of the other women in this were talking about it, like Mary, Janelle, and my mom, they're like, he chose her. And the way that Robyn's seeing it is that all three of them, like, threw him away, basically. And Mary is pretty unbiased. Janelle is incredibly loyal. My mom, I think, is the most biased in this situation. She's the most frustrated with it. And Mary and Janelle are like, yeah, I mean, he's a good person, blah, blah, blah. But also, yeah, he did choose Robyn. Like, you can tell that they're not specifically aggressive about it, and they're not like, he's this terrible person. And they don't seem as biased as Janelle, as my mom does. Watching that season 17, episode 1, like the little clip from the very first episode, I remember now that I never posted that, and I had to get a new laptop, and all of the data on my last laptop is completely lost, so I don't have that reaction. But when I was watching it, I was like crying, and I was like, it was awful to watch them. Like, he's like, yeah, you're blaming blah blah, and she's like, no, I'm not, blah blah. It was really painful to watch that clip again and like be back in that mindset of like, I'm watching my parents fight. Like, such a hard thing to watch. I think I might redo the reaction to that one and then post that if anybody wants it. When my dad said when he was like, if you walk out of here, it'll be a really bad look or blah, blah, blah. And he was like, if he was explaining to Suki, he said, if you walk out, then we're basically over and we're not together anymore. I find that very hypocritical because he tends to walk out on the other moms when he gets upset. And the only example I can think of is when he was having that argument with my mom and where Janelle was kind of backing her up and he just like ran out of there. And then he's like standing by the truck and like looking at the camera like, I'm very upset, you know? Like, maybe it's not hypocritical at all because he was basically saying we're over in that he walked away. And I'm pretty sure that's the last time they had like a conversation about it off the top of my head. So maybe it's just that he does, if you walk out to him, it's just over. I guess I saw that a bit. And I'm curious to see what Suki meant when she said you have a tendency of walking out on all the wives, and he agreed with that. I wonder if he's walked out on Janelle or if he's walked out on Mary or even if he's walked out on Robyn. Because at this point, like, the more that I watch the show, the more I'm like, is Robyn gonna stay with him? You know? Because her whole goal, well, what she said her whole goal was, when you watch the show, sometimes you're like, ooh, it seems like she just wants him. But she says that what she wanted was the family and that she wanted us all to be together from day one. And here he is, no longer with these other 3 women and his other 17, 16, 15, 14. Because Robyn has 5. There's so much math. It's terrible. I love it. With these other 13 children, she just lost that. Oh my God. At one point, Janelle and my dad like talk about the relationship, and Janelle was like, yeah, I love him. And my dad was like, yeah, I love her. And I'm like, do you love each other? Because like, you're separated. And Janelle seems very content with not having this beautiful, romantic, loving relationship with him. And she says that. And then at one point he also said, I value respect more than I value love, which hurt my feelings a little bit. It feels like a very heartless thing to say. So I didn't love that. I didn't respect it either. Robyn was talking about how all of the other wives had something with my dad that she didn't have. And she was like, I don't know if she said she felt like jealous or that she wanted that. But like, I get that. And I get that she wants this like friendship with him. But it makes me think, like, if he can't have this best friend relationship that he had, like with my mom, for example, with Robyn, in his mind, does he see romance and friendship as something completely separate? Like, you know, like, is it like you have this lover or you have this friend, and if they combine, then either you are no longer attracted to them because you see them as like an equal, and then with the friendship, if you start to see them romantically, you're like, they're lesser than me and they respect me and I am the patriarch, you know? Maybe that's the way he's starting to view it, which is whack for sure. But I totally could just be like, whatever, what's the word? Assuming this big grand story. But you know, it's definitely a theory. When I watch the show, sometimes I forget that I'm like one of these people. I like watch it and I'm like, oh my God, Janelle, you're so funny. And then I'm like, oh, Janelle, that's my mom, you know? And I'm like, oh, Christine, you're so right. What a valid point. I was like, that woman birthed me. She raised me. It's a whack thought to think about. Like, I become like, when I watch it, I'm like this completely separate person, which is probably not a good idea, because when you're watching a show and you see these people as like people on TV, you start to see them less human and more as entertainment. And that's not a good way to think about my parents. I think the whole dream of reuniting the family is so lovely and so cute. But at this point, I'm not sure if Robyn can be reunited with it. Because, like, reunite as in, like, we all live far apart and it would be awesome to have a big Christmas together again. But with Robyn, she's, like, made it very clear that she no longer sees herself, like, as a part of the family. But I'm not sure if she'll allow that to happen with her kids. So you may have noticed we have a habit as a family of not sharing our feelings and thoughts and emotions with each other, and we just tend to bubble them up until we get on that interview couch, and we just start like throwing all of the information that they ask and just expressing every single tiny detail with each other. Even earlier when Mary was talking about how my dad was blowing up at my mom at, I think it was like the last like adult parent family meeting, and he was like wasted and stuff, and she was expressing, she was like, this was a long time coming, that was real, that was like things, and she like, or it was a way of her proving that we really just do bubble stuff up, which is probably not great. And I feel like the interviewer, if she'd have noticed that, maybe could have talked about that, and because I think that would be a great step into resolving these issues the family has with like not being connected and stuff. Like, instead of bubbling, just go straight to each other and be like, I have this issue. Because a lot of like the reason that we're all separated, because we don't talk to each other, we don't express when there's a fault. And honestly, that's something McKelty, like, randomly is really good at. Like, if there's an issue, she'll be like, there's an issue. And I think she's one of the very few people in our family that doesn't just bubble it up and hold it back. And I think that's something that we could all learn to do. But good luck to everybody, and love and beautiful and blessings. So let's get into the questions. The questions from my patrons. We first have Trish Slattery. This is a hard season to watch, and the tell-all seems quite disingenuous from Cody and Robyn. Christine and Janelle were open and honest. What did you think of Cody's refusal to answer the question, is Robyn your favorite wife? And it's obvious that she and her kids are his number one. I really don't know. It makes me feel like there are a lot of like variables, like somebody's whispering in his ear or something. But when I really like think about it, it could just be that he doesn't want to add fuel to this fire that people believe or people know that Robyn is the favorite. Because at the moment I was like, why aren't you talking about like all the things you say to me? Because when I ever have an issue with Robyn, he's like, don't ever disrespect Robyn again. She's this perfect, magical, beautiful, wonderful being. But in the moment, he was like, I don't want to talk about that. And I think it's just because he didn't want people to solidify their beliefs that she's the favorite. Liz says, are you thinking of having any of your brothers walk you down the aisle? And then Kat comments, I think Logan or Hunter as a wedding escort would be awesome. I was thinking of just walking myself down the aisle, but like now that I'm actually thinking about it, that's actually kind of adorable. So I'm definitely gonna consider it. Because that's so cute, having my brother. And as a kid, I always like, when we went to dances with like father-daughter, all of the girls would choose my dad, and I had a tendency of choosing Logan to represent like as my father, because I was like, I want my little special moment. And so that would actually be so cute. Chrissy Powell says, when Janelle talks about being tired of Counselor Robyn in this episode, a lot of us watching really related. It seems as though she's very good at saying all the right things in many situations, but her actions contradict them. Is that something you've seen as well? Yes, so much and so often. My dad and my mom actually have both expressed this before, that she's like this perfect person to talk to if you have any like things that you need to go through. And she also states that she wants us to be this huge, big family, happy family. But like, in my experience, that's not true. And she doesn't feel like this perfect person to talk through your emotions. And when she says that she is, and she claims that like it's gonna be like this little one-on-one, it feels, at the risk of sounding like I'm accusing her of being a bad person, it feels manipulative to me. So Laura says, it looked like Cody was planning to let Mary hang on to their spiritual marriage forever, even though they were estranged. But then Christine divorced Cody. It seemed to inspire Cody to permanently cut Mary loose. Why do you think that is? So at one point, it was pretty recent, Robyn was talking about how my dad was going through like an all I hate women phase, and he was like doing it to his wives as well. You might remember she was like crying, and she was like, she's doing it to you guys, she's doing it to me, or he's doing it to you guys. And I think that's really what it was. He was just like, I'm just tired, I don't want this anymore. And it was like, in a very I hate women manner, he just pushed her to the side basically, and really underlined the point that he was no longer interested in her. So Laura again says, did your parents make a mistake trying to live as a plural family in areas like Las Vegas and Flagstaff? They didn't have fellowship with other polygamous families. The Dargers have been public with their own 2011 book and TV appearances, and have lived happily in Utah, where there are tons of other polygamists to hang out with. Choosing Las Vegas, in my opinion, as a fundamentalist Mormon family was such a weird decision, because it's Las Vegas, you know, it's Sin City, it's so wild. And off topic, if you go to Las Vegas, like, I don't mean to like be mean to people, but the Mormon community in Las Vegas is evil. They're scary, and they're like so entitled, and like I was like, I felt like I wasn't Mormon enough for them. It was a terrible experience. But yeah, Las Vegas, such a weird choice to make. Utah seems like really weird to me, because I don't know how the Dargers are still living there comfortably with like not being gotten rid of yet, because police were actually coming to our door when I was a kid and being like, you have to leave, you like, we're gonna take your dad to prison and stuff and blah blah blah. I don't know how the Dargers are doing so well, but also, like, once again, why Las Vegas? You know, why not somewhere conservative and more Mormon, like Montana or Wyoming or something, which, like, I'm glad that we didn't, because that sounds terrible. But, you know, logistically, that would have probably worked better and would have probably kept us silent too, because there's no way I would have had this like vocal personality if I were living in buttfuck nowhere, Wyoming. So it was just a weird decision to me. And I don't know, but I'm glad. So Kelly says, when you rewatch season 16 and see how Robyn talks to her kids and about their other siblings and moms, I think you'll have a clue about why they don't talk so much anymore. I'm interested. On to my question, though. It appears that your dad mainly communicates with his children through their mothers, even after they become adults and move out. Do you find that to be the case, or does your dad contact you and your siblings directly more often than it seems on the show? So off camera, that's not really the case at all. And I'm not sure it's much the case on camera either, but when my dad like talks to me or talks to my siblings, he doesn't go through my mom. He'll like text us or whatever. I think at this point we might start doing it. Like, we might prefer him to go through our parents because we don't tend to like the way he talks to us. Liz says, do you think Cody's rage in season 17 stems to the realization that he's not the boss man of the family anymore, despite the fact his religion declares that wives and kids must obey the father, the priesthood head of the family? So very much. At one point, basically, he was talking about, like, I want to be the head of the family, the household again, the patriarchal head, and we're gonna go back to patriarchy. And you could like see Robyn like making faces like, we're not gonna do that. And I think that, yes, he like made it pretty clear to us too that he was kind of upset at not being the head of the family, which I find ironic, because if you have 4 other people at your same level and even closer to your kids than you are, that's not gonna happen. Like, logically, makes no sense. But yeah, I could totally see that that's why he was very upset with it.
I wish Gwendlyn would post more about her life, because she has also expressed her interest in posting like her life with Beatrice and vlogging. She said she really wanted to do that. And I noticed how she said that rewatching this show and, you know, these events didn't feel good to her and she didn't like that. So I hope that one day Gwendlyn posts more vlogs and things that, you know, make her happy. I would love to see it. Would you? Let me know in the comments below. You never know, Gwendlyn might be watching. If you are, hey girl, hey, we fully support you over here. Don't forget to like and share this video, and please subscribe if you're new here. Don't forget, Sister Wives Season 19 airs Sundays exclusively on TLC at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.